Hey kids, it's Drafted James, and on this Drafted James Slaves looking at Tanystropheus. So same will supply, older to younger models, they only have four, sort of. So first and foremost, this animal was discovered in the 1852 is when the name was first coined. And when first discovered, it was thought to have been a pterosaur. Now you're looking at this, and you're like, how? Well, when you look at a fossil pterosaur, they die, they fall in the mud, they look kind of weird like this, and they're flat. And so pterosaurs have their four main fingers and a long one here. Early pterosaurs had long tails. Well, you see, this thing has 12 to 13 neck vertebrae, and they often are curled around, and they're dead, so they're contracting and all that. So I can see where they really made that misinterpretation. But after time prevailed in the 1900s, I believe, there was a kind of examination of oh wait, this actually is not a pterosaur, it's something else. That is a neck, not a wing. They've been found in Europe, particularly Italy, Switzerland, across the Middle East, and also in China. So they're pretty widespread animals, and they're found in the middle to early late Triassic. So the idea here is you look at this animal, you're like, what is it for? How does it work? The first assumption when looking at this is, oh, I know, it's a sauropod, right? It's a kind of weird, sprawling sauropod. But no, sauropods are later. They're late Triassic at best. So this what you're seeing here basically is an animal that its closest kind of grouping, I would say, is an archosauromorph. It's not a crocodile, it's not a dinosaur, it's not a pterosaur, but it's not a lizard or snake either. So it's a different branching. The Triassic period, the Middle Triassic in particular, there are a lot of different things. So you remember in the Permian extinction, it's a huge die-off of life. Early Triassic, life is recovering. By mid-Triassic, the reptiles are trying different things in different styles. So we see, I was calling weirdos. I mean, again, each animal in their own right were amazing in their own way. Stringosaurus, I did a video on that before. That's one of these animals too. So this guy makes sense where it is. Life is trying different things. Seeing it has webbed toes, people often say, well, if it's not a sauropod, maybe it's a plesiosaur. And that's a good guess for convergent evolution, but no, they're not in the same grouping. And then you say, what about the Nothosaurs? In the Middle Triassic, we have Nothosaurs like this. And I know they showed one in Camp Cretaceous on Netflix. But even then, these guys are maybe contemporaries, but not related to each other, right? Other than just being reptiles. So again, it's its own kind of branch of things, its own group of them, basically, their own family of their own type. So some of the stats: the animal is about 6 meters or 20 feet long. The neck alone, again, has 12 to 13 vertebrae, and the neck alone is 3 meters, about 9.8 feet. So it's mainly neck, right? And this thing, even a toy, if I put it here, it kind of teeter totters. That's showing you that there's a balance distribution thrown off. So how does this work? And any kind of weird balancing thing, we assume, has to do with water. The early sauropod theory was that they were always in water because it was buoyancy to help them move around. So, but there's supporting evidence here, not with sauropods, because they're found with several things. First of all, the sediment they're in is usually aquatic or marine. Also, we find them with shark fossils near them. Or, for example, we think they are, well, as far as diet goes, there's a bit of a debate. But some of the front teeth are very sharp and pointy, and they're considered like that of a piscivore. Now, carnivores eat meat, herbivores eat plants, piscivores eat fish, right? Insectivores like Pisces, the astrological symbol, basically. Insectivores eat bugs, right? But there's some teeth that have three cusps, and we see those in marine iguanas. So there are some who argue, some paleontologists argue, maybe they eat like algae and stuff. Either way it goes, we're not sure, but most paleontologists think they're at least carnivore or at least attacking something. As far as lifestyle goes, I mean, given the weight, they have found some with like large carbon mass in the back. So I'm not sure if that's like extra flesh or, we don't know to help balance it off. But you'll see picture of these guys, and two kind of pictures. One, they're like completely submerged in the water, swimming around. And then two, you'll see them on land looking over the water like an egret or maybe up at a tree. Looking up at a tree, not in the tree. The most famous example of this animal I can think in pop culture was Nigel Marven, the naturalist. He does a thing where he goes back in time, different prehistoric oceans, and they show one of these guys, and he grabs the tail, and the tail pops off. Now, I've searched, and I don't see anything in any literature or paperwork or papers published that suggest that. If you know, please put it in the comments below. But I'm thinking, see, as far as the classification goes of this animal, at the time they did that episode or that series, it was thought to be in the lizard, like at the base of the lizard family tree kind of thing. And that idea has been since then thrown out. So I'm guessing they're basing it on that. That is not the thing we find in the fossil record, so don't assume that's true. Yeah. So no more to say on that. So looking at this guy again, this animal is seen either completely submerged, but paleontologists who study marine reptiles and ocean movement and musculature say that it's not muscle enough to move. So for example, the legs aren't that strong. So here is this a distant, so distant cousin called a mosasaur. And see the tail of the mosasaur is very like it's very thin, it's very flat, so it can push against the water, right, like a sea snake. Ichthyosaurs have full flukes, basically, right? This guy lacks all those things. So as far as swimming goes, I mean, it wouldn't be the best swimmer. I mean, and it's really interesting. I read a lot for this video. There's a lot of arguments to and fro and why, and if I went over all of them, we'd be here for like 40 minutes, which I would like that, but I'm pretty sure YouTube would tell me you're no longer interested. But the idea is that idea of being submerged entirely isn't out of the question, but there's arguments for and against it. The other idea, of course, well, the earlier idea is that it would stand near trees and like have its head high in the tree to grab whatever. But the most common picture you'll see of it is standing on a coastline and looking into the water. So if you don't know, birds called egrets and other shorebirds will just stand in the water and they have their S-shaped necks and they'll just stand there for a long time very still, and then something will swim under them like a fish or a frog, and then they get it, they zap it, right? That's the idea here, is that this guy may have just kind of sat over the water and the fish below couldn't see it. So that would explain the marine sediments found near them, right? They're not found in mountainous regions, they're not found in deep, dense forest, or at least, although forests will make really good fossils, but they'll probably do maybe that. So again, the fact that they find fish scales and so octopi have suckers, squids have suckers too, but they have little hooks in them. They find those hooks and they find the scales of fish near their stomach region, so that implies they're eating them maybe. But to the actual review itself, the toy, this one, as far as we know, and as far as I know about this animal, it's pretty good. I can say with absolute sincerity, it's the best one on the market. I mean, you see it we have here. This is a 1999 Carnegie Safari, basically. So if you want to find your own copy online, they're not sold out. They're not, what do you call it? They're not they're older toys, 1999. So they're still in stores sometimes, some museums, but mainly online. And this one here is a repaint, 1999 as well, Safari Carnegie. So again, as far as having the webbed toes, the way it looks, this is the most accurate model out there. So if you're trying to fill in your your middle to late Triassic ecologies, here you go. The next guy we have here from Jurassic Park, the original trilogy between part 2 and part 3 in the late 90s. They had this thing called Chaos Theory, where they would take, kind of like the Indominus and Indoraptor, they would take genes of multiple dinosaurs and put them together and make a toy, which I personally did not like that as a kid. I know some people, I've met many people who love it, they thought it was really cool, that's fine, you do you. But I always felt they could have used that same material to make real prehistoric creatures, so that was my own, little, as a young James, But the few Chaos Theories figures I would buy, would be the ones that look the closest to real things. So they took a Tonystropheus and added with a python or some kind of snake, and it kind of hit the main points. It's still the same proportions, roughly, of the actual animal. The teeth they have this like really weird like, snake fang kind of saber-tooth calico thing going on. But I look past that. My main complaint is that, snake or not, the feet are like really wrong, because you see how these guys, the feet are kind of to the side for paddling or moving. These are very much under the foot, like it's some kind of archosaur, like a crocodile, like a Postosuchus almost style. So I don't like that. But overall, it's a pretty decent figure. If you can't find these guys and you're just like yearning for one, just take this one, follow the teeth off. No, so the main event here, of course, is the newest Mattel version. And let's see, I have here the official scissors, Jurassic James. And we will now, I like this noise. And super easy to cut this out without harming any of the plastic or the scale pattern on the, which is, again, speculative. I don't believe there are any skin impressions or, again, I don't see any of that in the papers or anything. Super easy. So, this one is the one you're probably going to see a lot on Instagram, Twitter, all the posts of toys. And let's see. So basically, okay, so you bend the tail down, the head goes like this. The legs, they move back and forth. Well, the legs go back and forth. The arms go back and forth, but also they go, oh, it's just that one? Yeah. The arms can kind of rotate out. Like just a new toy, so I don't want to break it. And then the head's here. First thing, I mean, like I said, if you want a cool toy that's weird looking, here's your guy. That's in the stores right now. I still think this is the best example of this animal ever, and like I love to see someone try to make it better, kind of thing. But this guy here, the tail's too short. The teeth, they're these huge, like, I don't even know how to describe that. Oh wow, okay, so there is an eyeball on one side, and there's no eyeball. Oh, there's an eyeball. There's no pupil on this side. So I'm not sure if that's like on purpose, like it has a visual problem, or it's just one toy. If you have one, please comment. Let me know. That's interesting. So yeah. Anyway, so here we go. It's the teeth are all these big, like pencil eraser thick, bulbous. Which again, they're not going to put sharp teeth in a toy for kids. I get that, but my goodness, they're so spread out and everything. There's a whole lot of on the papers on the teeth. Oh, they interlock. That's why. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so again, toy world, not real science. That the teeth close and interlock like that. So that's why it does that. Still hideous, but yeah. So here we go. So there you go. You have your Tanystropheus. These are your options. If you know of any others, let me know, please, because it's a really interesting creature. And I guess if I can just like 2 more of each of these, I just have a whole group for a cool picture. Oh, one last thing. People I do know in the 90s or early 2000s on the cryptozoology, those documentary shows, whatever you call those, they think Nessie is one of these. There's someone out there who suggests that it's one of these. So I just thought I'd add to the video. I don't know why I said that. I should edit it out, but fine. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. This is Tanystropheus. I would show you the ecology, but like they live with these guys in early ichthyosaurs in the marine environment. The mid-Triassic is a very interesting time, and I will put a link below to my website where I can show you where it fits in this classification if you want to know more detail like that. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing, and I'll see you next week.